Good evening and welcome to the Rory Talks Football channel. Thank you for coming back. Your daily Arsenal news updates, my reactions and opinions, of course. If you're new here, please do subscribe to the channel. Massively helps me. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers now. And smash a like on the video as well. That also massively helps me. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Lots to get into today. Obviously, we've got Mikel Arteta's press conference. Finding out about the Arsenal squad ahead of Sunday's trip to Newcastle. So the main thing about that is a big update on Gabriel's fitness. Also, an interesting piece about Emile Smith-Rowe. Lots of us have kind of written him off, and maybe we wrote him off too soon. Also, a piece a little bit from Miguel Delaney about Arsenal being desirable this summer. Couple of odds and sods, and of course, guess the Gooner. Hello, Dominic, Finn, Tom, Sam, Isaac, Alon, Anthony, Joe Madderford, Eamon, Ross. You haven't missed anything yet, just the intro. It's good to see you all in the chat. SS9, as always. How was the cinema yesterday? Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It was, do you know what, right? The ending of the film, very nice, very good, very happy. And as I'm leaving, I whip up my phone, check the football scores, just as Brighton are being awarded a 99th minute penalty. So, yeah, yesterday evening was fantastic. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Top movie. 9.5 out of 10, I'd give it. Very good indeed. No worries, Joe Madderford. I did say happy birthday 4 times, but that was... look, I hope you had a great day. I hope you had a fantastic birthday. Who's getting Europa League? Brighton, Villa or Spurs? I think it will be Brighton. I do think it'll be Brighton. No spoilers. Seeing it tonight. No spoilers from me. No spoilers from me. But it is very good. Anyway, look. What did you think of the ESR news today? So we're going to get into that, Thomas. That is a big part of today's show. This news about Emile Smith-Rowe. Good news. Good news is what I'd say it is. But look, we'll start with Arteta's pre-Newcastle press conference. If you're on TikTok, please do head over to my YouTube channel, Rory Talks Football on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. I massively appreciate all of you. On Gabriel's fitness, of course, that was the first question he was asked. And he said, we'll have to see tomorrow how he is, but he could not finish the game. So that was obviously a big sign for us, and we'll have to see how he is tomorrow. So Arteta himself not really giving an update on Gabriel's fitness. However, other people, sources close to the club, including those at Football London, said Gabriel Magalhaes is expected to be fit for Newcastle at the weekend. Gabriel suffered a blow to his ankle in a collision with Ramsdale, but he's looking fine, and they think he'll be back training either today or tomorrow. So it is expected that that Gabriel is going to play. It was just a knock on his ankle. Obviously, it was a sore one. But with such a short amount of games to go for the rest of the season, and Newcastle being such a big one, I think he'll play through the pain. And if it was just a knock, there's no real danger of it being something that you can make even worse by playing on it. Why don't you have the Adidas logo on your shirt? Funnily enough, I was talking to Daily AFC Content about the fact that both of us have this shirt, and both of us have the Adidas logo missing here. And it is because, for whatever reason, the original batch of these shirts, when they came out, the Adidas logo just fell off almost all of them in the washing machine. So that is why there's no Adidas logo there. Do you think Lee Gunner would get mugged if he ever came to the Emirates to watch a game? I don't know. He probably would get a battering. Not from me. I'm not a violent man. But there's a lot of people that very much dislike Lee Gunner. Any news on Nelson? No news beyond what we said yesterday with Reece Nelson, that he rejected the initial offer and they are renegotiating. But look, so that was it about Gabriel, really. He was then asked about Saliba. And once again, not a lot of progress. He's feeling better every single day, but he's still not being able to have any activity around the first team, so we don't expect him to be with us. He was then asked if Saliba's out for the season. He said, we're not there yet because we are always hopeful and players are always pushing to play. But if that is the case, we will announce that, hopefully. Now, personally, I have been convinced for a long time that Saliba will not play again this season. I'm still convinced of it. And really, I'm actually concerned about the start of next season. Back injuries are just horrible. and he isn't improving, and it is a worry. Lee Gunner is a sausage. It's a friendly way of putting it. Predicted front three. The predicted front three is Martinelli, Jesus, and Saka again. Going back to those three. The front three I'd like to see is Martinelli, Jesus, and Trossard. I really want Saka to be given a break, but I don't think he's going to be. He was asked about what needs to be done to solve Saliba's back issue. He said it's about the healing process. Pain-wise and with things that he can do now off the pitch, I think he's in a good place. But we have to build his capacity again to have the right impact, the right load, and be in good condition to train and play for the team. So I don't really know what that means, but one thing we do know is that he's not going to be there on Saturday. He was then asked if there are any other injury doubts. He said no, hopefully not. So there's no new injuries, which is good. Saka is the only option. A right-footed player on the right won't work. I don't disagree, but we kind of said that a left-footed right centre-back in Kivior wouldn't work, and we did make it work. So, I was watching, there's a clip from the game against Chelsea where Saka actually loses the ball and Chelsea are on a counter-attack and everyone's sprinting back. You can see the pace of Kivior in it. You also see Martinelli at the bottom of the screen, absolutely flying. And actually, one of the only people that didn't fully chase back was Saka, and he was the one that lost the ball. And I kind of don't blame him. I do just think he is exhausted. Is this a paid channel for Rory? Joe Madaford just messaged me with a PayPal link saying that I had to pay a premium. No, I don't know what that's about, Monsieur Arteta. What do you think about McAllister and Ugarte going to Liverpool? Would love to see them at Arsenal, especially McAllister. Both of them very good midfielders. And if Liverpool get both of them, to me, that's 2/3 of their midfield rebuilt. And Joe Madison said he's lying. So there you go. One of the reporters was obsessed with asking City questions. Yeah, if we get into those City questions, I'm not going to bother. They're really boring ones. Jorginho or Partey to start on Sunday? I'd start Jorginho, but I think Partey might start. He was asked how important the Chelsea win was. He said we showed a great response in the week, but the most important thing was to put it out on the pitch, and we did it. Right from the beginning, we showed real determination and desire to win the game and put in a big performance. He was asked about needing to find a ruthless streak. He said we need to find moments that are crucial in games to kill them and find better ways to finalize games. We've had a few, especially with the games that we've drawn. And he's right. That is something we massively need to improve on, is when we go 2-0 up, 3-0 up, just kill the game. Kill the game. We'll get on to Smith-Rowe in a minute after we've finished rolling through the press conference. Only doubt if Saka doesn't start is it would mean Trossard starts on the right, and it's not really his best position. I do agree with that, Ross. Trossard's only started on the right once. It was against Leeds, and I didn't think he was great there in the first half. But I just think something has to be done. He was asked about whether the reverse fixture, that 0-0 draw against Newcastle at home, was one of our toughest of the season. He said we've had a few, but that was a game that we deserved to win. We didn't at the end, but they are a really good side who are well coached and have really good players in the right environment around the club now, so they're in a good place. Basically, he's saying, Newcastle didn't turn up to play football, which is spot on. He was asked about Big Sam's return and having a role and having role models in coaching. He said, I've learned a lot from a lot of coaches. There's no way Arteta has learned a thing from Sam Allardyce. I'll tell you that for free. He's being polite. There is no way, other than maybe some dance moves in Benidorm, there is no way that he has learned a thing from Big Sam Allardyce. But he says, I've learned things from Sam because I played against him when I was a player. He has a really unique and very effective way of playing and getting results with his teams, especially for foreign coaches and young coaches. You come into a league of coaches that have kept the essence of English football in many ways, and I think Sam has played a big part in that. Zubamendi update. The only update really was yesterday, and that was that he's close apparently to agreeing a deal. I'm not going to the game on Sunday now. I couldn't get a ticket. Obviously, it's up in Newcastle. He was asked on whether the team is better at dealing with Newcastle's approach now. He said we'll have to show that on the pitch. He was asked about coping with our recent defensive changes. He said we can't control certain things. We have to accept that, and that's why we have other players who can fulfill those roles. We tried to help them and support them as much as possible. Don't look for too many excuses. and just find the right solutions to win matches. And this is where we got into the City bit. He was asked about having to wait and hope for Man City to slip up. He said, we have enough to deal with just looking after what we're doing. He was asked about whether Sunday's game is an opportunity to make a statement. He said, we don't have to make a statement to anybody. We have to play our best game and play as well as we possibly can to earn the right to win the game. Whether he expects Newcastle to come flying out of the blocks, he said, I don't know what they have prepared. He was asked about whether the traditional Big Six will now become a Big Seven, including Newcastle. Now, for me, if Newcastle become part of the big group, Tottenham drop out of it. It's still a Big Six, but Newcastle replace Tottenham. He said they're already in third in the league right now, and they merit that position with the way they've performed and the amount of changes they've made. They've made some very intelligent decisions as well, so they deserve to be where they are. So he didn't really answer the question. He was asked about Ødegaard's goals coming from late runs into the box. He said that's something our attacking midfielders have to have the ability to do, and that's why we play in a certain way to exploit those spaces. Martin has the capacity to do that. He's finding himself in those positions, and then is being very effective in the final action. And that's the reason that Martin Ødegaard is the highest scoring midfielder across the whole of the big five leagues in Europe at the moment. Another question about Man City feeling the pressure. He said, I don't know what's going to happen. Kind of a pointless thing. He was asked on whether there are examples of them feeling pressure when he was at City. He said it's more down to the players. We don't know what they're thinking right now or what their focus is. They'll try to win every game. We'll try to do the same, and we'll see what happens. And then he was finally asked if whether last season's defeat to Newcastle is extra motivation. And he said, I don't think so. There's not a lot to motivate from there. There are a lot of things we have to do much better than we did on that day. It's a different group of players as well. And where we are today is very different. And I agree with that. I think if we'd still been fighting for top four, maybe there would be some motivation, but a lot of things have changed since then. With UCL, what 5 realistic summer signings would you make? For me, it would be Caicedo, Declan Rice, and then with some of them, I don't know the ideal person. Definitely as a striker, it would be Ivan Toney. If we get a winger, it would be Moussa Diaby. And then the defenders, I honestly can't pick. Truthfully, I don't know whether we're going for a centre back, a right back, both. So yeah, Timber from Ajax would be a good one for me. Is it true that Arsenal have made a bid for Pedro Neto and it's been rejected? Not that I've seen. Not that I've seen. You think we have that much money? From what I've seen, we've around 200 million to spend. Yeah, so. Plus sales, plus player sales, which could be quite a lot. But anyway, that's it from the Arteta press conference. Hey, Rory, do you think Chelsea will get relegated? I don't, unfortunately. Since they sacked Thomas Tuchel, the table since they sacked Thomas Tuchel, they would be 18th. So literally, the results Thomas Tuchel got at the start of the season genuinely have kept them up. Harry forward, I really think we need to get Rice as quick as possible. Otherwise, I feel like someone else will come in for him. Absolutely bang on. Absolutely bang on. Rice needs to be done in the first week of the window. And I'll be annoyed if it's not. Look at how Look at how well-run clubs are operating right now. Brighton have announced today, confirmed that they've agreed a deal for João Pedro. It also seems that James Milner is basically done. Now, James Milner is an interesting one. Do you think we're already talking to Rice's agents? Yeah, I think we've been talking to Rice's agents for quite a while. TikTok Lacazette says, when will one of the next season's kits be released? They're not normally released until the summer. And Daily AFC Content says, do you think Newcastle will attack us more at home? I hope so. I really do hope that they do attack us more. I think they will. If you look at the way that they've played at home, it has been much more attacking. I can't wait to watch Kivior play football again. Nor can I. Anyway, let's get on to the Smith-Rowe news. This interesting Smith-Rowe news. Obviously, we've kind of been in a position where I think a lot of us were acknowledging that Smith-Rowe may well leave in the summer and that Aston Villa seems like a reasonable place for him to go. However, it's been reported that Mikel Arteta is coaching Emile Smith-Rowe, the number 8 position, where Granit Xhaka currently plays, ahead of next season. We saw when Gabriel Martinelli picked up a long-term injury that Mikel Arteta took his time introducing him back into the side, and it's expected that the Arsenal boss is doing the same with Arsenal's number 10. Smith-Rowe is currently training to play in the central midfield area, as Arteta aims to teach him a deeper role ahead of next season, when the player is expected to play a more crucial role in the side. Arteta's previous success in transitioning David Silva at Manchester City could bode well for the England international. He's expected to have a much more important role next season, and it's extremely unlikely that he will be sold next summer. Why are people asking to recall Cedric? Absolutely not. Cedric's still got a year left on his contract, and I'd still happily let him go for free in the summer. He doesn't even get into the team at Fulham. Ridiculous. But look, that Smith-Rowe news is good. It's good news. And to be fair, we did see that with Gabriel Martinelli. When Gabriel Martinelli was injured, he was reintroduced back into the team after that injury, really quite slowly. And Arteta did a lot of work on Martinelli as an attacking player. He did a lot of work on his finishing. And it's interesting that might be what he's doing with Smith-Rowe. Now, I still don't think, if our summer window goes as planned, I still don't think Smith-Rowe gets into our best starting 11, because I still think Declan Rice would be a far better number 8 than Smith-Rowe. But if we keep him and he's the backup to Declan Rice, I mean, then you ask what happens to Granit Xhaka at that point, who I also don't think we're going to sell this summer. But would you take Gundogan or Bernardo Silva? Yeah, I'd take both Gundogan and Bernardo Silva. They are very, very talented players. Smith-Rowe would be for depth. Yeah, he would. Yeah, I still think, even if he plays a more crucial role next season, I still think he'll be a bench player generally. Could this mean Partey leaves this summer? Well, not as much, because Partey's needed to play in the 6 role, the defensive role. So it would only be if we were bringing in Declan Rice as a 6. But I really think we should be bringing him in as an 8. Thoughts on the Rice price tag? Yeah, so apparently West Ham are still insistent on getting 100 million for Declan Rice. I mean, with a year left on his contract, that is a lot of money for him. But if other clubs are in for him, then we might get pushed up to it. Rafik says he'd start Tierney over Zinchenko this weekend. Personally, I'd still start Zinchenko. I would still start Zinchenko, especially because, like, defensively, I mean, Newcastle have been good on the attack, but not so much their wingers. ESR playing the 8-10 wings and false 9, total versatility. Yeah, that's the good thing with him. I mean, but ultimately, I think you either keep Smith-Rowe or you sell him and you get Mason Mount. I think that's basically what happens. Nelson has to get a new contract. He's our best game changer. I don't disagree. Kieran reckons Rice to go for 80 to 85 million. That would seem more reasonable. Zinni needs to wake up, though. Yeah, look, he admitted himself after the game that he needs to switch on more. So I think he knows. I think he knows he fucked up for that goal. But the thing is, right, Arteta knows that Zinchenko's not as good a defender as Tierney. Arteta knows that he had one of the best defensive left backs in the league in Kieran Tierney, but he still wanted to go out and buy Zinchenko because he doesn't like, or he doesn't, his system requires more from the left back than Tierney can offer. Have you seen Tottenham youth winning 2 trophies in 2 months? Yeah, but all of their good youth players will go to senior teams that win trophies. They won't stay at Tottenham. They've got a taste for silverware now, and they know that staying at Tottenham. I mean, I put up a video today. Hugo Lloris has probably played his final game for Tottenham. He's been there for 11 years and not won a trophy. I mean, it's madness. It's madness. Tierney can play in the roles Zinchenko does. He can't, Harry. Tierney cannot play the role that Zinchenko does. He's just not good enough on the ball. He doesn't have the vision. He doesn't have the execution of pass. He can't play on both feet. I love Tierney. He's a fantastic left back. He cannot play the Zinchenko role, unfortunately. Another thing we heard today, this was coming from Miguel Delaney, just about how desirable Arsenal are this summer. He said Arsenal have seen a much higher level of potential signings express interest in the last few months, with executives stating what a contrast it is to even 2 years ago. They now have representatives of players in the highest bracket coming to them, which is great. It really is good. I don't know what Monsieur Arteta. I'll be honest, Monsieur Arteta. You're in timeout. You've been timed out. I've done that purely on vibes and who I trust. I apologize if you're actually not in the wrong, but you're in timeout. Would you start Kieran Tierney at centre-back if Gabriel is unavailable? Now, that is something that I would do, yeah. I would rather start Kivior and Tierney as the centre-back pairing than Holding and Kivior. Absolutely. Um, if I see Rob Holding lining up against Newcastle, I'll just cry. I'll just cry. And then into the odds and sods. Simon Collins. Arsenal have scouted Dinamo Zagreb's Josip Sutalo as they look at centre-back options this summer. Crystal Palace's Mark Guehi is another option being looked at. Now, we did talk about Josip Sutalo a couple of days ago, maybe 2 or 3 streams ago. Dinamo Zagreb centre-back. Now, I was talking to someone who knows the team, knows the players. He said he's very similar to Gvardiol, but kind of slightly worse at every than Gvardiol, but he's also younger. So I think he might be a year older. But it's an interesting one. I've never really seen him play, truthfully. But clearly we're in the market for at least one centre-back this summer. Thoughts on West Ham being rats? I mean, look, the thing is, I made a joking video about West Ham playing a weakened team, and then it was one of those videos that randomly did really well, and it got like 500,000 views, and West Ham fans didn't understand that I was not being serious with that video, and it's had quite a lot of backlash from the old Hammers. The Hammers have been hammering at me quite a lot for the last couple of days. Thoughts on Elise being our Saka rotation? Yeah, it's not a bad option. It's not a bad option. I don't know if he's got the work rate to play for Arsenal. Hello, Rory. Bit late to this stream. No worries, Ben. No worries. Good to see you anyway. In fact, actually, Ben, you are just in time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you an ex or current Arsenal player's career path without the Arsenal part of it. You have to guess who that player is. The first person to get it correct in the YouTube chat gets unbelievable levels of pride for 24 hours, the absolute top level Arsenal ball knowledge. And it's as simple as that. So they are an ex or current Arsenal player. I leave the Arsenal part out of the name. Ernie says he won Guess the Gooner yesterday on TikTok. Well, now you're on YouTube, you'll get the credit for it, Ernie. If you are on TikTok and you want to get involved, head over to my YouTube channel, Rory Talks Football. We're live on there. Get into the chat with it. Of course, you still do get, you can pat yourselves on the back in the TikTok chat if you get it correct. But the real pride goes to the person in the YouTube chat that gets it. So here we go. This player started at Grasshoppers. They went to Lille, Lazio, Juventus, and Augsburg. Grasshoppers, Lille, Lazio, Juventus, and Augsburg. Who is it? No one's got it on TikTok. That the YouTube is quicker than TikTok. Bob was the first person on TikTok, but the big winner, and that's at least his second win of the week, it's George Taylor with Stefan Lichtsteiner. Congratulations. SS9 was a close second with TikTok Lacazette coming in third. It was not Kim Kellstrom. Congratulations, George Taylor. Congratulations. Well done. I'm good, thank you, Input. I am good. That's a ridiculously obscure one. Look, you got to make it a bit more difficult, I tried to spell his name instead of just putting his name down. Well, you get no prizes for correct spelling as long as I know who you're going for. Totally forgot he played for Arsenal. Yeah, there's quite a few of these. I'm gonna start whipping these ones out that people have just completely forgot ever played for Arsenal. Didn't know he played for Augsburg. Yeah, he went and did a year at Augsburg after he left us and then retired. It was spelling his name which tripped me up. How do you feel about João Pedro to Brighton? Very good signing. AFC Murphy says Man City haven't lost a single game since the Premier League charged the club with several FFP breaches. Well, there you go. There you go. Thoughts on playing Zinchenko right back, Tierney left back, White right centre back? It's possible, but I just don't think we need to. As long as Gabriel is fit, I think we go with the same back four that played against Chelsea. Lichtsteiner gives me Emery era PTSD. Facts. If you do Dennis Suarez, I feel like no one would get him. Well, they might do now that you've said it. What's your ideal centre-back signing this summer? I honestly don't know. I like Timber. I like Guehi. News coming out that we're close/favourites to sign Zubimendi. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Apparently, we are close to signing or agreeing a deal with Martin Zubimendi of Real Sociedad. But we'll see. Look, there's lots of midfielders on the market. We're in for a lot of them. Rory, do you play FIFA? Who do you reckon will get a tots tonight? So I believe the Arsenal players getting FIFA Team of the Seasons tonight for the Premier League are Ramsdale, Saliba, Zinchenko, Ødegaard, Martinelli, and Saka. I believe. I'd rather Zubimendi than Rice. I'd rather Rice, like, purely based on Premier League experience. I know some people think Premier League experience doesn't matter, but I do think it matters to an extent. If Gabriel isn't fit, would you play White right centre back, Partey right back, and Jorginho DM? Nah, not for me. I don't like the idea of Partey being at right back. The guy barely ever sprints. It's not for me. Anyway, it's time for Guess the Non-Gooner. This is Guess the Non-Gooner, a player that has never played for Arsenal. I give you their full career path. You have to guess who it is. You do get pride for it, not quite as much pride as old George Taylor's currently got in the chat for getting Guess the Gooner correct. But this player started at Nice. They went to Lyon and Tottenham Hotspur. That's it. Nice, Lyon, Tottenham Hotspur. Who is the player? It is not Pepe. It is not Pepe. Joe Madaford has got it. Joe Madaford has got it. It's not Ndombele. It is not Ndombele. It is indeed Hugo Lloris. On my screen, Joe Madaford wins it. Ross Lawman came second, and TikTok Lacazette came third. Back-to-back third places for TikTok Lacazette. The consistency is there. But congratulations, Joe Madaford with the win. So our winners today are George Taylor and Joe Madaford. Lloris washed. Yeah. I mean, what an exit, right? What an exit for Hugo Lloris. That is Spursy. To captain the club, to be there for 11 years, never win a trophy, and your farewell, your sayonara to your team is to hook yourself off at halftime after conceding 5 goals in 20 minutes. And yeah, it's just unfortunate, isn't it? But he's won a World Cup. He has won a World Cup. So Spurs fans can hold on to that. Got carried by Mbappe at the World Cup also. Yeah, I don't disagree. Gundogan is on a free this summer, so maybe we can get him. Possibly. I don't think we will. I've got a feeling Gundogan's going to end up at Barcelona. I don't know why. Score prediction for Sunday. 1-1. 1-1. Where do you think he goes after Spurs? I wouldn't surprise me if he retired. He's quite old, right? He's 36. Well, he doesn't need to retire. Maybe goes back to France. Daichi Kamada on a free, possibly. But again, it's one of those where I'm just not sure what, because he'll demand high wages, and I'm just not sure it's one of those that you need. Lloris will go America. Yeah, possibly. Could see him in the MLS. Do you think Reece James could be up for grabs? No. There are some players at some clubs that the club just won't. It would be like if saying is Bukayo Saka up for grabs. He's one of theirs. 4-0 this weekend, according to Ross Lawman is confident. Ndika on a free. Ndika's basically, I think that Ndika to Borussia Dortmund's basically done. He wanted big wages as well. His agents wanted him to be on 200k a week, for God's sake. I don't think that is what he's going to get at Dortmund. But what about Tielemans? Again, I think wages are a problem. I think if we were going to get Tielemans, I feel like we'd have already done it. Did you see the PSG fans were outside Neymar's house shouting abuse? Yeah, I also saw that apparently Newcastle could be interested in signing Neymar. They want one of these sort of marquee commercial signings this summer. I honestly don't think Neymar would do well in the Premier League. Especially if you look at the top teams now in the Premier League and what you have to do and what you have to contribute within a team, I don't think you can be a Neymar. I just don't think you can. Did you see Messi made an apology video? I didn't. Tielemans is lazy. I'd give that a wide berth. I think that's why it's not happened. Yet. Think Tierney could play left centre-back role like Shaw has for United? Yeah, I do. And he's played that role for Scotland before as well. Because obviously they have Robertson at left-back normally. And Tierney plays as a centre-back. Neymar would make this league his son. Nah, Neymar will ruin this league. I just don't think he would. Like, he'd have moments of brilliance, but I think in certain games, he'd just go missing. Who's the most handsome player at Arsenal? Who is the most handsome player at Arsenal? That's a good question. Holding with his new hair. Yeah, to be fair, probably Granit Xhaka. Probably Granit Xhaka. Gabriel news. The Gabriel news, Jack, is that Gabriel is set to be fit. He's set to be fine. It was a knock to his ankle that he took in a collision with Ramsdale. He was expected to train either today or tomorrow, and he's expected to play. So Arteta himself in his press conference was keeping quite quiet about it, but and basically was like, well, obviously he got taken off, so that was a bad thing. So we'll see what happens. But no, I think Gabriel's going to play and be fine. Neymar would be the type of signing James Rodriguez for Everton. Yeah, at a higher level, but similar. What's with ESR? Is this about training as an 8? Yeah, so the Smith-Rowe news is that apparently Arteta has been training him to play the 8 role, the sort of Granit Xhaka role, and that's why he's not been brought back into the team just yet. My only question about that would be why he didn't play the game against was it Southampton or West Ham? Whoever we played when Granit Xhaka was ill, and Fabio Vieira played and dropped a stinker. I don't know why that wouldn't have been Smith-Rowe. With Rice, the midfield would have Riz. Absolutely. Yeah, it was Southampton, yeah. If you had to keep one, who would you choose? Balogun or Nketiah? I'd keep Balogun in terms of who I think's the better player with the higher ceiling, but I don't think we're keeping Balogun. It really sounds like he's going to get sold. And do you think Declan Rice will perform in the UCL? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Should have even played Jorginho for Southampton. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't think we'd have conceded 3 goals if Jorginho had played, that's for sure. Maybe he's just allowing him to focus on developing his role rather than checking him in a match situation in a title fight. Possibly. But then is Vieira really ready to be involved in those games either? That would be my only thing with Vieira, is that I'm just not sure he's ready for it either. Would you go for Baku and Timber or Guehi in the summer? Yeah, although it sounds like we might just be getting one centre-back that can play as a full-back as well, so probably Yuri and Timber. Arteta wants Zaha. Thoughts on that? I don't want Zaha at all. Would you rather sign Zubamendi and Lavia or just Rice? Zubamendi and Lavia would be better than just Rice, for sure. I still think the only reason Vieira started that game was because he's left-footed. Yeah, I kind of feel like that was probably the case as well. But look, that is going to be the end of the YouTube stream. I massively appreciate you all tuning in, as always. Please do subscribe if you're new to the channel. We're on the road to 3,000 subscribers. Have a fantastic weekend. It is a Friday evening. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have a good one. Have a great weekend. Tomorrow, if I won't be streaming tomorrow because I'm playing in the TikTok versus Twitter charity match. If you want to watch that, it's called Social Series Cup. It will be streamed on YouTube. Make sure you tune in for it. I'm going to drop an absolute masterclass. And yeah, other than that, thank you. And I will catch you on Sunday.